Okay, let's talk about the last unit. I'm gonna keep it short because we're running out of time for the year, and there's other topics I want to spend time on. The last is something called the angle of elevation, the angle of depression. Angle, and the aim is the angle of elevation or depression. And it's very simple. It's just like an application of all the trig we've been doing. So I want you to imagine there's two people. There's one person on the ground, and there's one person. Imagine they're standing on the top. They're above. Whether it's like a guard standing on a tower looking down, or someone flying a plane and he's about to descend. But the idea is that the person on the ground is going to be looking up. The person in the air is going to be looking down in the air. Let's say in the air. And so here's my visual. My visual here is, once again, here's the first person, and here's the second person on the tower. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the person on the ground. And the person on the ground is looking forward. The person is walking towards the tower, and then he kind of stops and looks up, and you see my arm like going like this, going up. You can see my arm elevating, and so like this. That rotation, that's known as the angle of elevation. This is the angle of elevation. And so that's basically it. And so you see here, you have a right triangle. You're going to be given the angle and a side, or you're going to give two sides and ask about the angle. But once again, it's an application. Now let's take it from the perspective of someone who's up in the air. The person up in the air is looking forward. And then all of a sudden the guard sees a prisoner or someone approaching the tower, or maybe a pilot is flying a plane and suddenly identifies the landing strip. And so the person looks down, and that is the angle. You know what? Red doesn't show up well on this. Let me do it in black. Sorry. This is the angle of depression. So elevation is looking up. Depression is looking down. You might notice, so once again, you might have a triangle. You notice a couple of things. The person on the ground looking forward is parallel to the person in the air looking forward. So these two angles would be equal. But you have to be careful and just read the question to see how they're looking down. But if two people are looking at each other, it's the same angle looking up versus looking down. And then you're just going to get some basic questions. So for example, let's call this person A. This is person A, and this is person B. And so the first question is, person A is 53 feet from the base of the tower, and their angle of elevation to person B is 48 degrees. Sorry. The question I'm going to ask is, how high is the tower? How high is the tower? And my second question is, how far away from A is person B? How far away from each other? So how far away is A from B? Okay, well, let's take it to the side. I'm going to use, the other colors are not showing up well, so I'm going to use my blacking. So we can redraw the diagram here. It's a right triangle. And over here, I know that, what am I told? I said person A is 53 feet from the base. So this is 53. And I'm told that the angle of elevation to person B, so this is point A, this is point B, is 48 degrees. And so we're asked to find how high is the tower. Let's call this Y because it's Y. And how far away from B, let's call this, I don't know, let's call this C. So we're looking for the first thing, we're looking for Y. So we'd say, okay, that's easy. So we know the tangent of 48 is equal to Y over 53. Therefore, Y equals 53 times the tangent of 48. And that's going to be some irrational number. We can take our calculator out, turn it on. So what do you have? We're in degrees. 53 times trig tangent of 48. Enter 58.9. What did I say? It's feet. And then we want to find C. I want to know exactly how far away A is from B. This is the hypotenuse. So we can do cosine. So we can do the cosine of 48 is equal to 53 over C. Well, we know from our basic studies, we know that C is equal to 53 divided by the cosine of 48, which is approximately, let's get our calculator out. Turn it on. Let's see. So we have 53 divided by trig, the cosine of 48. Enter 79.2. 79.2 feet. And that makes sense because it's a right triangle. Nice. Question number 2, let's use a question with the angle of depression. So question number 2 says, person B is at the top of a 100-meter tower. He looks down at a rotation of 40 degrees and sees person A. How far away is person A from the base of the tower? So let's see. Let's get that down here. Question number 2. Let's see. Person B is at the top of the tower. Obviously, it's a new question, so we're starting over again. I'm changing the top of the tower. Let's see, of a 100-meter tower. 100-meter tower. They look down. They look at, let's see, at a 40 degrees. So immediately, I didn't write the word depression, but you know what's going on. In the real scenario, he's looking, the guard, the non-gendered guard, is looking down. So that's depression at 40 degrees, and sees person A. And so the question is, how far away is person A from the base of the tower? How far away is person A from the base of the tower? And so I'm going to erase that over there. Let's make the same. Once again, we have a right triangle. There's going to be questions where like it starts at the eye and looks up. So there's a little height. Like you have to pay attention to the little things. But once again, it's all about right triangles. Once you get that right triangle down, you get the right angles in there, you're good to go. So let's do a diagram. So we have, we have started with our right triangle. We're told that person B is at the top of a 100-meter tower. And we're told that he looks at 40 degrees. So we need to be careful here. We need to be very, very careful of what's going on here. So we know the person's up here. Draw a picture of a person up here. The person looks down. This is the 40 degrees, not that. That's not the 40 degrees. Don't make that mistake. This is the 40 degrees up here. Therefore, because of parallel lines, this is the 40 degrees down here. And the question wants to know how far away person A is from the base of the tower. And once it's just a basic trig problem, how do we put it together? Well, if I'm standing at 40, I have the opposite, but I don't have the adjacent. I'm going to use tangent. Now it's up to you. You could say, well, Mr. Adler, this is be one of those problems where the variables in the denominator, I don't want to do that. I want to make sure my variables in the numerator. So you have two options. First, you can say, okay, you know what, tangent of 40 is equal to 100 over x. You say, you know what, that's messy. You're like, messy. I don't want to deal with this. So you know what we can do? We know this is 50. So you know what? The tangent of 50 is equal to x over 100. That's easier on the calculator. This is simply x is approximate. X is exactly 100 tangent of 50. And that makes our life a little easier. Let's go to the calculator. Let's turn it on. Let's see, we have 100 times trig. The tangent of 50, enter 119.2. Approximately 119.2 meters. And that's basically, so work on the problems in the book, and then we're done with the unit. So, yeah. Yep. So let's have a test on the 21st. Good.